What's this about the Bela Lugosi of...
Picture this. This is... picture this. Sicily. 1812. My great-great-grandfather was at the Festa della Madonna, and he was 98 years old. And at the festa, everybody's drinking, having a good time, and all at once, he passes out. You know, he drank too much. He's 98 years old, and he passes out. And I said, "Oh, look at the poor Adiana." They call them Aryans, for a long story about that. The Aryan's dead. Caltagirone's dead. So they put him in a casket, a wood casket, and they take him to the church, the village church, right in the heart of Alessandria della Rocca. And Dr. Messina up here in Tampa, his great-great-grandfather was a young man, auto boy, putting out the candles in the church when he hears a knock on the coffin. And when he hears this knock, he runs out into the square and screaming, and the villagers all come running, and they went into the church, opened the coffin, and the old man says, "He's alive." So they took him home in the coffin, put him in bed, and I was told that the coffin was placed in the corner of the bedroom. Well, 30 days later, he finally did die, and the way they tested to see if he was really dead, they burned the back of his hand with a candle. See if he would move his hand, I guess. Well, he was dead. Well, I heard that story when I was a kid, and I didn't quite believe it. But my brother-in-law was visiting a friend's house back in the 50s when the whole family and all the friends would sit in the living room watching television. And there was a movie of Bela Lugosi. And when Bela Lugosi raised himself out of the coffin, the old lady, there's an old lady there, Mrs. Massara, she was from Alessandria della Rocca, and she started screaming, "Hey, look at the Adiana, the Aryan, the Caltagirone, he came to life." And so my brother-in-law happened to be there, and he questioned the old lady, and she told him the story about the old man dying and coming back to life in the church. And but incidentally, after that incident, there was a law passed on the island of Sicily that you could not bury a person till 3 days later. That became a law. In fact, they brought that particular custom over to Tampa. I remember as a kid, they would leave him in the house for 3 days before they would have the funeral.
In case they partied too much?
Yeah, in case they partied too much. But what they used to do, in Florida, hot weather, they used to put these big tubs of ice underneath the coffin to keep it cool, with the skirt around it, and would keep the coffin cool for the 3 days. And the old lady told my brother-in-law that when they were kids, and they wanted the kids to come in, it's getting dark, and the kids wouldn't come in, they would say, "Old man Adiana is going to get you. Old man Caltagirone is going to get you." He was like the boogeyman.
And what was his name?
His name, I'm kind of sure, his name was Antonio.
And what was the lady in Tampa, what was her name again?
Massara. Massara, yes. That was Jane Massara's mother. And she was quite up in age, and that was in the 50s.
You know, it had to be her mother-in-law, Joe.
Her mother-in-law, that's right, it was her mother-in-law. Well, anyway, if all of this isn't true, it makes a damn good story.
And it's almost, what, from 1812 to now? It's almost 200 years.
Yeah, about 200 years ago.